And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome to day 6 of my Battle Royale festival, where I get to show off my favorite of the Battle Royale genre, which I love. I've got lots of them. Pretty much everyone that comes out, I really like Battle Royales. So, we are going to discuss now the human race. Scored this with the slipcase. Now, the human race was released in 2013. And it was directed and written by Paul Hough. And it stars Paul McCarthy-Boyington, Eddie McGee, and Trista Robinson. This is a very, if anybody out there has not seen this, which this is one of those little hidden gems. I haven't heard many people talk about it. I don't know how many people know that it exists. But this is I love this movie, and I found it really unique and interesting. The way it starts out is pretty strange. You are just, you immediately hear, in a foreign language, intentionally, you hear, and the subtitles are telling you that it's an English movie. It's just this part, but, only one will win. The house, the school, and the prison are safe. Follow the arrows. Stay on the path. If you are lapped twice or touch the grass, you will die. And then we flash to this guy who is looking around, and there's a bunch of people. He looks around and he walks 2 steps right on, and just it's like scanners, all of his veins come out and his head blows up, and when he touched the grass, when he stepped on the grass, and you're like, okay, that was shocking, what the fuck was that? And then it's gone again, and now you're in a hospital and you're seeing this teenage looking girl named Veronica, and she is watching her little sister die of cancer in this bed. And it then flashes and shows her fainting, and the doctor informing her that she likewise has this cancer. It's a certain type of cancer. And she's like, yeah, I know. I lost my mom to it. I lost my sister to it. So I know what's going to happen. Well, she then becomes like this. It shows you through these little flashes that she becomes like this health freak. Exercise and running and shooting birds at the sky. F you. And all of that. And then it shows her next doctor's appointment, where she is told that by some miracle that the cancer is in remission. And she's all shocked, really? And she walks out of the hospital, and then you kind of see her the next day walking down the street, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hear that same thing in her voice. Only one will win. The house, the school, and the prison are safe. Follow the arrows. Don't touch the grass. If you get lapped twice, you will die. And then boom, we're back in a bunch of people standing there looking around what the fuck? And the guy next to her freaks and bumps into her, and she falls out into the grass, and you see the top of her feet start doing that thing, and then all the veins. It really looks like the Scanners, that movie Scanners. The veins pop out and her head blows up, and you're like, well, I thought, well, she's obviously not the star of this movie, right? Because she's gone. And then, boom, you're gone again. Now, all of a sudden, you're in a desert in Afghanistan, and you're seeing this soldier pulling another soldier across the ground. This other soldier has got this horrible, mushed up leg wound, and obviously another soldier is pulling him across the ground. And this is kind of a funny scene considering the situation, but he pulls him into a cave, and you've got, I guess, the Taliban or whatever it is out there. And he's telling him to be quiet, and he pulls him into that game because they've got to wait till sunrise to get help. But they're freezing, deserts, very cold in the, at night. So hot in the day, cold at night, deserts, we know this. So they're freezing, and it's really funny because he climbs, the guy that pulled him in there, Justin, and the soldier's name is Eddie. He pulls him into the cave, and then they're sitting there talking, and he knows that this Eddie guy is going to die. So he unbuttons his shirt and is bare chested, and then he lays on top of him, and the guy's and he's it's okay, I mean, this, and the other guy makes a joke, it's well, this is a weird first date, and he's you'll be all right, I mean, because it makes sense. They have to do that to stay alive, right? Skin to skin. And so awkward for them, I'm sure, but at the same time, it saves their lives. And the banter that they have in this awkward situation is pretty funny. I mean, personally, I would be going, if I feel something move down there, I know something else is up. You know what I mean? But that was kind of funny situation. So he actually saves him that way. And I think the last thing that he said before the soldier passed out, or before they were rescued, the last thing that they showed was him going, don't worry, you'll be all right. We'll make it through this, and you can wake up to someone a lot prettier than me. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. So it was a cool little scene. But you get to see them now. Justin is the vice president at a disabled children's school. Eddie did lose that leg, so he walks around on these two crutches. He's very good at walking with these crutches. And he's obviously a wild guy. So, yeah, Eddie and Justin are in the car. They're going to meet up somewhere, and they're driving down the road, and then, boom, you hear this intro again in their voice, and, you hear both of them saying it at the same time in their voice. Only one will live. Don't get lapped twice, stay on the path, follow the arrows, touch the grass, you're dead, blah, blah. And then, boom, we're back. But this time we stay. So the movie has really started now. Now, the first thing that you notice is Veronica standing over there behind them. And that first guy, boom, head. Veronica's out there, boom, head. And you're like, oh. So those first two intros were just showing you two other people that, okay, I get it. So I thought that was neat cinematography, a neat way of introducing you to this thing. So, there's Justin and Eddie, the two main people. They're the stars of this movie. So here they are surrounded by 80 people, including that first guy and Veronica who just went boom. Several other people go boom too, because, all of a sudden, poof, 80 people are standing on this sort of track. If you can imagine it, it's like a city block, right? It's like a racetrack, but it's a city block. And the track goes through a house, it goes through a school, and it goes through a prison. So you're like, okay. So when you're in there, you're kind of safe, because from the grass and everything like that. So the voice is like 80, 79. And each person hears this voice in their own voice in their heads. Because they even like turn to each other and go, did you just hear that? And it's like, yeah, but that was my voice. No, that was my voice. So all 80 of these occupants heard the rules and are hearing the countdown. 80, 79, 76, So you have to be the last one left. And, if you stop, except in one of the 3 safe houses, you will die. So they all start walking, and it's everybody. It's like old man on a little hand trolley. It's an old man, a walker. It's an old man on that. It's young. It's old. It's these 2 deaf people who are kind of important to the story. This deaf guy and girl. And so we're seeing people fuck up, touch the grass, die. People are going and running. It begins. Even the 2 deaf people hear the rules. They can all hear voices of the race master in their head, except it's in their own voice. There is one. They do watch one guy climb the fence of this little arena, this little track. And he does manage to get over the razor wire, and he goes running up this hill, and then, of course, crinkle, crinkle, crackle, boom, his head goes up. So they know they can't get out that way. They try to talk to each other. They try to talk to people, Justin and Eddie. They're trying to talk to people, find out what's going on, what are we doing here. You hear random booms as the 80 runners run, and some people fuck up in various ways. They do come up with an idea. Okay, Eddie and Justin come up with this idea. What if we all stop in the safe place, in the safe house, right? What if we all stop in the house? And that way nobody races, because the rules say that you don't have to run as long as you're in one of these 3 places. And no one can lap each other, right? If we just all stop in the safe house, no one can lap each other and try to figure out what the fuck to do. So maybe if we stay here, no one gets lapped, we can figure out what to do. They then kind of discuss what the last thing they remember. And they all say, I was just doing this or that, and there was this bright light, and I was here. Okay, so everyone agrees. During this time that we realize something interesting, and that is that all 80 of these people, now that they are face to face, now that they are looking around and seeing each other, all 80 of these people realize that they were in the same area on this city block in town. As they think, they're like, I saw that deaf couple over there. They were arguing. And I saw that old man. And I saw that junkie. And I saw that priest. So they were all beamed or something from this one little city area, this little city block. Everyone was in eyesight of each other when poof, and now they're in this arena. Okay. So, there's this asshole. Oh my God, he's such an asshole. At first you thought he was a nice guy. He's like a marathon runner. He's like a cyclist, or he's a marathon cyclist, which would still make you a good runner as well. Now, he decides, fuck you. I'll have my own plan. And he manages to get past him because, Justin is standing at the front of this house. and Eddie is standing at the back and stopping everyone. It's like, we need to chill out. Well, this cyclist, he manages to get Eddie off his guard, and he runs out. Well, that's going to fuck everything up, right? Because if the cyclist, think about it, if the cyclist runs the track and comes back through, he's going to lap everybody, and they're all going to blow up, right? So Justin chases him. He can't. He's a cyclist. You're not. So, he manages to stay ahead of him. Now, they had left two extremely upset kids that were staying, in the school. Justin's chasing him, and that fucking cyclist laps him, and they blow up, and that was not pretty. This is a very, very, pre-warning, this is a very, very gory movie. With the modus operandi of the deaths in this movie being your blood boils and your head explodes, trust me, this is a gory movie. So the two kids go boom. So that plan is all fucked. The cyclist, of course, is now, anybody that he passes now, he's lapping. So the cyclist is now lapping everyone and booms galore as he goes through them. He even, this was so gross, he even comes across an 8-month pregnant woman who's just sort of given up, and she's sitting there, and he talks to her for a minute, and then she gets him to take his hand, and he's like, can I feel it? And she's like, yeah, I can hear it. I can feel it kicking. And then he tells her, sorry about this, but, and she's like, no, don't do that. And he takes off, laps her. Well, as soon as he walks by her, the baby inside of her starts doing that thing, and she's doing that thing at the same time. So her and the baby blow up at the same time, and it's like, that was fucked up. You understand me? Do you see the squint of my eyes? That was fucked up. So he passes her, and they go boom. Now we have, so he's a bad guy, and there's only really 3 other bad guys. They're these 3 thugs that you saw in the city. These 3, gangstery thug dudes. And they come up with their own plan back at the house, and that is, look, when the people run through, you let them run through. But I'm going to stand. They took up the positions that Justin and Eddie were in, because Justin and Eddie was trying to catch that cyclist. They were like, you let them in, but don't let them come back. I'm going to wait, and as soon as they run out the other end of the house, we're going to push them over the ground. Man, them motherfuckers managed to take out 12, 14 runners by just standing there and waiting for them to come through the door into the outside, and then they would push them over to the grass, and boom. That's totally not fair. But, okay. Obviously this is a very brutal game with no rules. So yeah, they managing to take out 10 or 12 of them motherfuckers. Justin is even killed by one of them, which I did not expect, because remember, Justin and Eddie have got back around to the house now, right? They come in, they find all this carnage, and Justin is killed by one of the thugs, very, very ugly. Eddie is fucking furious. Now this is when we get to see this really cool ass fight. You have to remember, he's only got one leg and these 2 industrial steel crutches, Well, he's like, bring it on, And he's so mad about his friend Justin being killed that he manages to kill 2 of those thugs in a very ugly fashion. And then he like cries over Justin, who had saved his life in the desert. Ends up ugly killing the third thug, and we're down to 19 of the 80 people that are left. Now the deaf couple is still alive, and they and this bitch woman, because she was like a total Karen. But at this moment, though, they confront the cyclist, right? Now, the cyclist has lapped Karen, but it has, her name wasn't Karen, she was a Karen. But the cyclist had lapped this Karen, but he had not lapped, you got to lap someone twice. He had not lapped this deaf couple. So, but the three of them face off on this path. The grass here, got to stay on the path. And they had gotten the big arrows, that you were supposed to follow. They look like fucking scythes, like the Grim Reaper carries. They face off with him, but he manages to jump in front of Karen, so she blows up. This freaks the deaf couple out. But they do manage to like nearly cut that guy's leg off. So Mr. Cyclist ain't running so good now, but he still takes off. So now he has lapped them once. He goes on about his way. He gets back around to that house, the cyclist does. The deaf couple's very distraught. There's 9 left. They wait at the house, hoping that they can catch the cyclist when he comes back through. Because they were, hoping that he was in there. Like, we'll stay here. If the cyclist comes back around, we'll be waiting for him. So you get to see a little of their backstory. You get to see a little of their interplay and stuff like that. And it's kind of fucked up. He tries, the deaf guy, you just really didn't see that coming. But the deaf guy, it's like, hey, I'm going to die a virgin kind of thing. He ends up like trying to assault her, rape her. And she doesn't take too kindly to that. And he like begs her forgiveness. He's sorry, but when they get outside of the door to the house, he tells her how sorry he is for attempting to do that, because he like knocked her out and tried to do it. Like, in other words, she woke up with her pants around her ankles. So he says he's sorry, but she pushes him into the grass. So that was a pretty what the fuck scene, because you didn't expect any of that. And I didn't expect her to take him out, because she was mad. So she ends up killing him. There's 5 left. The cyclist does make it back around. So if he was to get past her, she would go boom. The cyclist sneaks in the house. She's laying on the floor, though, faking, and he thinks she's dead. She ends up tricking him, managing to maneuver around, in which she then, like, completely destroys his head. She bashes him in. So this little deaf girl, who was, like, all demure and stuff at the beginning, is turning in to be, like, a complete nemesis. So she beats him to death. Now, another woman comes after her as she's running after she leaves the house and tries to kill her, but Eddie saves her. Now, there are only 2 left now, and that's once Eddie comes up and kills that woman that was trying to kill the deaf girl, there's only 2 left, him and the deaf girl. Now, this is where it starts getting, like, really interesting, because I totally didn't see the direction this movie was going. Right? So after that, they're standing there and he's like, calm down, I'm not going to hurt you. And, so they're 6 foot distance, but okay, they're calm for a second. And then he's like, asked her if he's like, what is that? You know? And she looks, and you as the audience look, and you're like, what is that? But you can obviously see that it's another arena, right? And you can see the same kind of fence. And it looks like there's something flying. And there's another thing flying. And he goes, what is that? And she's like, it's angels. I think it's angels. And it does. It looks like angels over there. Like the kind of angels you would think about an angel, right? And that freaks her out, you know, and he's turning around and he's like really intensely watching these creatures that look like angels over there and in what looks like another arena. And that's when that bitch just pushes him onto the grass. An error on her part, because he's only got one leg and he's got those crutches, so he just holds his foot up to not touch the grass. So he's like hobbling on the crutch without touching the grass, and I'm like, that was good. Don't put your foot down, right? So he hops on the crutches and gets back on the road, where he then knocks her down and strangles her to death. I mean, you just gave away all your brownie points right there when you tried to kill my ass. I mean, obviously, it's do or die. So he kills her, and then you hear the voice in his head saying that, you know, because now that he's killed her, he's like, okay, I'm the last. What's up? What's next? You know, what do you want? And then that's when they said that you hear a voice in his head, and it says, we are Esseron. And you're like, but we are Esseron. You are in our human arena. You will represent the human race in Baccarat. Until there is only one from the Angelian race, the Argons, until then you can rest. So he then is like, oh hell no. Well, fuck you. And he walks out onto the grass, but it doesn't do anything because it's obviously been deactivated now, right? So he walks up to this hill, to the top of the hill, and he looks down and he sees that arena. He sees another arena. And he also sees like alien ships. And he looks over there and he sees like a tunnel. So he goes and he walks into that tunnel, and it leads to that other arena. And you see the body of this angel-like race. You see their bodies and it looks really cool. You see their bodies like hanging from things where they've obviously been fighting as well. And he sees all these dead Argons. Now you're tripping at this point, or at least I was. Because I'm like, what the fuck? I did not see alien abduction and alien races and arenas and shit like that. I did not see that coming in this movie. I just thought it was some, rich psychos making people fight. So I didn't see the science fiction aspect of this movie. And so that was pretty cool. So while he's looking at the alien bodies, he's beamed up, and then he hears new rules in his head. He is suddenly on what looks like this weird alien surface, and it's like, don't step on the veins, touch the fence of the sky, and you die. And then if you win, you live. Then we see, I guess, what was the last Argon combatant appears way over there. And they even like zoom in and show a close up of this Argon. And it was a cool looking creature, you know. So obviously 80 of them had been forced to fight in this arena. And 80 humans had been forced to fight. And now these two are going to make Eddie and this Argon fight for their pleasure. So like other battle royales, I guess this was kind of the same reason that all battle royales are done, rich people having a show. But in this case, you did not see it coming, that it was fucking aliens. And that they had basically beamed up 80 people from a city block and put in an arena to fight for a champion to put up against another race that they had done the same thing to. So, 8 out of 10, very unique. Did not see that coming. Very cool little story. As I said, that's Eddie right there, the front guy. That other chick, that's the deaf girl. The chick on his right is Veronica. I don't even see Justin. Justin had a second biggest role. He's not even on the front. What's up? Anyway. But yeah, like that's Veronica. That's Eddie. That's the deaf girl. I don't know who those other two people are. I think that was that first guy that we heard. Oh, that's one of the thugs in the yellow shirt, yeah. I don't know why Justin's not on there. What's up with that? You were the second most important person in this movie, and you don't even get on the fucking cover? That's fucked up. Oh, wait, there he is. That's Justin way back here in the back. I would sue. Justin is like that dude standing right there in the background. I would sue over that shit. Why that bitch? Why is Veronica up there? She got blasted within the first 10 minutes of the movie. So, she got blasted at the beginning. I mean, granted, you saw some of her backstory, but still. She was one of the first people to go in the race. What the fuck is Justin doing standing away at that? I'm really getting too serious about this, aren't I? And anyway, this is the human race. If you've never heard of this, or if you've never seen this, this will be a blast. You would really like this. If you are into battle royales, this is an absolutely cool ass movie. You see that 18 right there. If you get an 18 in Britain or Canada, it's gross. Okay, there is a lot of gore. It's very cool. And yeah, race or die. This, of course, is the British release because I could not find an American one. But yeah. Will still play on your computer. It's region 2. If you've got a region-free DVD or a region-free Blu-ray, this will play. If you don't, that's okay. You can still buy the international version, the British version, because it will play on your computer. All DVD ROMs are region-free. If you don't have any of those three things, you're just fucked, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if PlayStations or any of that is region-free or not. I've never had them. I had a PlayStation 1. I still have a PlayStation 1 because I have to have Final Fantasy Tactics, which is the best and only console game I've ever liked. But, love you, miss you, bye. See you in the next one. Always remember, never forget, you're a very, very special person. Even if you have not been beamed into an 80-man race where if you touch the grass, your head explodes like scanners. Bye-bye.